Ladies and gentlemen, to this very special day, the 6th day of September 2021. Streaming live to you from Brisbane, where the weather now is 16 degrees and sunny. Well, it is a beautiful day, and I hope you all had a great weekend. Well, it was a busy weekend for us, as I mentioned to you on Saturday as well. So Saturday we had the Preserving Mother Language and Cultural Awareness Forum in Acacia Ridge. We'll bring to you the report tomorrow probably. We have the videos and an amazing forum, and Usa Chandra was one of the panelists and the speakers there. It was a very well organized function, and thanks Naida for all the work that you do out there in the community. So we will bring to you that report. And of course then there was Arpan, which was Nritya Bharatiya School of Kathak's annual concert, which is always a pleasure to be part of. So that went well, very well as well. And once again, Usha was a keynote speaker there talking about Nimita Devroy, whom we have known for a very, very long time. And of course, videos from that event we'll bring to you in a show format as well. Of course, the Bullerwood, again, a function that we supported, and it was sold out function at Unides Community Centre, and we've been told it was once again a very, very successful event. Well, of course, right now this week is a very important week. It is Child Protection Week. So today, after the news, we will be talking to Katrina Lines, the CEO of Child Protection Act, and we will talk about what awareness is out there in the community. What is this Child Protection Week about, and how, what are the things that we need to be aware of as a community about children, their rights and their protection. All of those coming right after the news. For the general news, we'll go state by state. First up, let's take a look at Queensland, our backyard first. Yes.
Good morning, Queensland. And first of all, can I wish all the dads out there a very happy Father's Day, and wish my own father a happy Father's Day, and also to for people who have lost their dads as well. I think it's a special time to reflect on those happy memories. So we hope, however you're spending today, that you're enjoying the day. So anyway, in good news today, we only have one new case, and we're not worried about this case because it just came through recently, which is why we're a little bit late this morning. Is that it's the mother of the 4-year-old girl. So they're already in isolation, so that's fantastic news. And it's very low risk because she was already in that home quarantine. But can I just say to those families that have been asked to go into home quarantine because of this little cluster, we really need you to abide by that home quarantine. We saw how well it worked, especially when we dealt with the Indooroopilly cluster. And I'm asking all of those families that have been told to go into home quarantine, thank you, you are keeping us all safe. So thank you very much, and please keep up the good work. Dr. Young will talk about 2 interstate cases that have been reported in Queensland, but they're both truck drivers. So Dr. Young will talk a little bit about that. And there will be just some few exposure sites which will be added to the Queensland Health website. So we have 16 active cases now in Queensland, which is great news because that number's coming down. Remember when we were almost up to that 100 when we had a lot of people, so that's great news. And the last 24 hours, over 8,330 tests, which is great. And once again, it's really important, Queensland, if you have any symptoms whatsoever, please go and get tested, because honestly, we've got to find that first case. That's absolutely crucial. 15,818 vaccines by Queensland Health in the last 24 hours. So we now have, of our eligible population, 52.7% have had at least one dose, and 34.14% are fully vaccinated. Now, I've got a really important message today for Queenslanders. Now is our window of opportunity to get vaccinated. We've been hearing extensively about the modelling of 70 and 80%, and the 80% from the reports of National Cabinet is absolutely, we need to aim for 80% and above. We have this window of opportunity, Queensland, to get vaccinated. It is absolutely imperative that you get vaccinated because this virus is going to pop up sometime in the near future. And this is basically our window our window to get this done. It is going to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your community. So I cannot stress enough. It's fantastic news. The Commonwealth has secured those extra Pfizer doses. We're, of course, opening up more vaccination hubs. So we really need you to either go to your GP, go to your pharmacy, or go to a vaccination hub and get vaccinated. I cannot stress to you, you know, if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, well, I might just wait. Don't wait. Every single person that gets vaccinated is protecting us from having a huge outbreak from what we're seeing down in New South Wales. We know it's going to get worse in New South Wales, and I really feel for people who have family and friends in New South Wales. This is a global pandemic, and it is we are going to eventually see more cases here, and we really need to see everybody get vaccinated. So everybody who's eligible, please go and do that. And of course, with the more supplies coming on, we will definitely make sure. But make an appointment with your GP. If you can't get in to see your GP, ring your chemist. If you can't get in to see your chemist, you can register with our Queensland Health website. We need to get more people on that register and get vaccinated. I cannot stress the urgency to Queenslanders to get vaccinated. Tell your friends, tell your family. If you're a small business owner, if you run cafes, if you run small businesses, if you run restaurants, it is important to get vaccinated, because that's, of course, how this virus gets spread by those people who are unvaccinated. And I don't want to see people ending up in hospitals. I want to see people vaccinated and keeping Queenslanders safe. So I think you've got the message today, Queensland. Keep up the good work. Go and get vaccinated. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. And we're seeing more and more sites will be opening up on weekends. So there's basically no excuse. So please go and do that. Okay, the other thing that's really important, as we saw from that nail salon as well, we really need people to use that check-in app. It doesn't matter where you're going, get out your phone, use that check-in app. That is also keeping yourself safe, your community safe, and that means we can get hold of people fast and get them into isolation. So it's absolutely imperative. If you're a business owner, you know, you've got a right to make sure that the person entering your business has checked in and done the right thing. So that is going to help our contact tracers, and we really need that.
And obviously, yes, we do need all of that and all the contract tracers as well. Even if you get in a cab, they have those contract tracing things right at the back. So please do the right thing and do check in. And welcome everyone to the show once again after the long week, after the weekend, which was full of functions and events. Good to see it all happening once again here in Queensland. Well, right now, let's go to New South Wales and get an update from the Premier there.
I can't disclose what's discussed at National Cabinet. Suffice to say that New South Wales is tracking extremely well in terms of our 70% double dose rates, and tracking well in terms of us preparing our roadmap for what life looks like at 70% double dose, and we anticipate hitting that at around mid-October. I just encourage everybody to keep coming forward and getting vaccinated. I know I sound like a broken record, but with good reason, because once we get those vaccination rates, life will look much better and feel much better, and we certainly won't have to have a statewide lockdown ever again once we hit those 80% double dose vaccination rates, and that's what we're looking forward to. Well, I've been pretty clear to say that at 70% double dose vaccination, you'll be able to get a meal if you're fully vaccinated, able to attend events, able to do things you can't do now, access services. But we're working on the roadmap now. We're consulting with industry. Obviously, the health experts are giving us advice on what they think is a safe way to reopen at that stage as well. So it's important work we're doing, but work we look forward to presenting to the public as soon as we have ready. And in the first instance, though, I want to make sure every single citizen understands the plans we have in place for the next few weeks, when hospitalisation numbers are going to increase and when ICU capacity will also need to be stretched, and we'll obviously provide that information as early as possible, but also our best modelling. But I want to stress that when these figures do come out, they're only as good as that day, because there's lots of variables that can go into that. But it will give everybody a really good indication of what we're expecting, but also what we're prepared for. And can I give everybody an assurance that what we've prepared for and what we think is going to happen, there's a big gap in that. So what we have to say in relation to that is that there will be strong evidence to give the community information that we are well and truly prepared. But having said that, we know how difficult it's going to be for all of our frontline workers, for families who are dealing with loved ones who've got COVID. So the best protection is to stay at home unless you have to absolutely leave your house, if you live in those areas of concern in particular, and also to get vaccinated.
So there you are, the news update there from the New South Wales, and of course they're working towards that magic figure as well. So is the Prime Minister working on that magic figure to move up to the next stage. Well, right now let's go to Victoria and see what's happening there.
Thanks very much for joining us. There are 183 cases today. All of those are locally acquired. 101 of those cases are linked to known outbreaks or other cases, with 82 that are under investigation by our coronavirus detectives, our public health team. That takes us to 1,417 active cases, with 1,414 of those locally acquired. I'll give you an age breakdown, which I know is always of interest, and just confirms that this really is a pandemic now of the unvaccinated. 216 of our cases are aged 0 to 9. 232 are aged 10 to 19, 348 are aged in their 20s, and 245 are aged in their 30s. Of the new cases today, 91% are under 50. There are 89 people in hospital, and we send our best wishes to each and every one of them and their families, and of course to the teams of dedicated professionals who are caring for them. There are 24 people that are in ICU, and 13 are on a ventilator. Only one person that's in hospital has been fully vaccinated. Again, just making the point that if you are double dose protected with either of the vaccines that are available, then you are almost certain to avoid very serious illness. That's yet again another reminder and another really important point to make about the need to get vaccinated and to get vaccinated quickly. Turning to vaccinations, some 29,950 vaccines were administered yesterday. That's in state clinics. That's our busiest weekend day since the vaccination rollout began, our biggest ever. We are now at 2,583,499 doses having been administered through state-run centres. Across the board, we've hit our 60% first dose administered target. And we are well on our way to achieving the 1 million jabs over a 5-week period. We are indeed ahead of that a bit, and we should meet that target ahead of schedule. That's fantastic. We've just got some 343,000 to go, and I'm confident we'll get there and get there ahead of the 5-week mark. Just to give you an example of just how much activity there is in our vaccination system, some 39,000 bookings were made yesterday. That means Friday I was talking about 50,000 AstraZeneca appointments. I can now pleasingly report to you that there are just 11,000 AstraZeneca first dose appointments available over the next 7 days, and some 2,000 first dose Pfizer appointments available over the next 7 days. Those numbers are steadily getting lower. Doesn't mean that it's any less worthwhile getting online right now as you watch or listen to this press conference. Put your name beside one of those AstraZeneca appointments, 11,000. I'd like to think that when we're standing up here in the coming days, there are no more appointments available this week. Then we'll order more, and hopefully we'll be able to run a whole lot of new appointments in the weeks to follow. But there are 11,000 first dose appointments available right now. Please go online. When you get to honouring your appointment, when you turn up at the state hub, there'll be a doctor, a pharmacist or a senior nurse to speak with you about what AstraZeneca means, and then you can make hopefully an informed choice. You can get that vaccine, you can be back 6 weeks later to get your second dose, and you can be fully protected, both you and the people that you love the most. You won't be helping in the spread of this virus. You will have in fact helped all of us to get to the other side of this and to get to that 80% double dose mark, the mark that allows us to have our freedom back and to live in a very different set of rules, a very different set of circumstances. 11,000 of those AstraZeneca appointments are available over the next week. They're available right now. Please go online.
5,000 people on the registration list at the moment, but we are clearing people as quickly as they come in the system. So we need people to keep getting registered so that they can get a vaccination, and especially with Boondall coming online this week, we want more people in the system wanting to get vaccinated, and we want more GPs vaccinating more people with both AstraZeneca and Pfizer, and of course our pharmacies with the vaccines that they'll be getting coming forward as well. So please everyone, keep up the great work, social distancing, good hygiene, getting tested if you have any symptoms whatsoever anywhere in Queensland, checking in everywhere you go, and coming out and getting vaccinated.
Good morning. So just a quick update on our operations over the weekend. 3,666 vehicles across our borders, 93 refused entry. Only one person had a penalty infringement notice issued for false declaration. We saw some activity at our borders yesterday, and we handed out 100 masks just on the Gold Coast alone. Obviously some of the vision you would have seen around people enjoying Father's Day, but I'm happy to say that we took a compliance and communication approach, and most of our community did the right thing. Only one person was issued with a fine for not wearing a mask. Overall, 7 penalty infringement notices, mostly in relation to people not following directions of health officers in relation to the current outbreak. I just want to mention that the new system in relation to returning and relocating Queenslanders has come into play. So that went live at 8 p.m. last night. The new direction came in under the Chief Health Officer's authorities. That has been operationalised. We have our workforce stood up. We are processing the applications, and as of 7 o'clock this morning, we'd had 107 returning Queenslanders applications approved and 149 relocating persons to Queensland approved. Overall, there'll be about a 50-50 split of that. We'll try to balance that out with people come in into our state. So just to remind everyone, what they have to do is they have to apply online to get the exemption as either a returning Queenslander or a person that's relocating to Queensland, and then when they present to our border, they must come in via air. They have to have a border pass declaration as well, still, they must have that as well, and they must be able to demonstrate evidence to the satisfaction of the officers as they come in that they can prove that they are a Queensland resident. We do have sufficient hotel quarantine availability, so no pressures there. Over 800 rooms available in both international and domestic quarantine at the moment, so we will balance that out as time goes forward. Thank you.
Happy to take a few quick questions.
How disappointed are you that Queensland is last in the vaccine race, and will there be a briefing on how to speed things up?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily true, because we're working with the Commonwealth Government, and as I said, the Commonwealth Government's responsible for 70% of the vaccination in Queensland, and we're responsible for 30%. But what I've said very clearly, and I'll say it again, and I said it yesterday, we have this window of opportunity, Queensland, to get vaccinated now. If we get more supply, we can get more vaccine out. As Dr Young said, we have already over 300 GPs administering. We've got extra vaccination hub rolling out this week at Boondall. So we need Queenslanders to come and get vaccinated, because the virus will eventually show up in Queensland. So the more people we can get vaccinated now, the better prepared we will be.
What the government do to combat this complacency?
I think Queenslanders do want to get vaccinated, so we want to really stress, and I know the Commonwealth has run a campaign as well, but we want to stress to Queenslanders, now is the time to roll up your sleeve and come and get vaccinated.
Given GPs do have excess files that they're not using though, has there been an issue around the messaging, do you think, in Queensland?
Well, I think that's up to the GPs. That's done through the Commonwealth level, that they need to make sure that everyone knows where they are and they're getting vaccinated, and my understanding is that families are going in and utilising that. But also too, we've got a big network of community pharmacies as well. So there are a lot of options for people to get vaccinated, and of course there's the hubs. And what we saw yesterday, over 800 people down in Logan turned up, walked in and got vaccinated.
Is the government any closer to looking at drive-through options? The opposition's been calling for that for a while.
We don't need that because we don't have virus ripping through our community at the moment, okay? So if you had that situation, you'd have to look at all options. At the moment, we are free to move around and to go and get vaccinated. So Queenslanders, please go and get vaccinated.
If we don't have an outbreak though, would that make sense that you look at all available options now before that?
We don't need that. If we need to stand that up, we can stand that up. But people can go in and go to their local GPs, they can go to their pharmacies, and they can go to these hubs that we have. We've got vaccine hubs now at Logan, Rockley Showgrounds, Ipswich, Logan TAFE, Caboolture. We've also opening up a community vaccination centre at Mount Warren Park on the September of 11. So you're going to see more and more vaccination hubs roll out across the state.
Is that not needed though because of the low numbers of people sitting on the register at the moment?
No, it's because we haven't had the supply. So now the supply is coming in. The federal government has secured the extra supply, so we are able to get more jabs into people's arms.
That's fine though. There's plenty of AstraZeneca floating around.
People can go and get their AstraZeneca as well. There are a lot of options open to Queenslanders, and now is the time to get vaccinated.
Health professionals say that there's still a lot of hesitancy around AstraZeneca. How much responsibility does the government take for that next messaging?
There is a whole range of vaccines available. Moderna's coming as well, and everyone, if they can go and talk to their GP to see what is suitable to them.
Dan Andrews said last week.
Sorry?
Dan Andrews said last week that unvaccinated people in Victoria won't be able to enjoy some of the freedoms that vaccinated people have, like going to the pub or the movies or whatever. Well, unvaccinated people.
We're not in that situation, Lydia. Like in Queensland now, our cafes, our bars, our restaurants, our shops, our retail, our businesses, our mining communities are open. We are open. Now is the opportunity to go and get vaccinated.
Once we hit 70 to 80% and the country opens up though, will those people who haven't come forward to get vaccinated still be allowed to go to the pub?
Well, what we've said very clearly is that everybody should be offered, eligible Australians and Queenslanders should be offered the opportunity to get a vaccine. Now, in relation to the second part of your question, they're matters for National Cabinet.
But you don't have an opinion on that?
No, they are discussions that need to happen at National Cabinet.
The state government has mandated the vaccine.
Sorry?
The state government has mandated the vaccine for police. Why can't we do it for teachers?
We're encouraging teachers to go and get vaccinated. We know that teachers are also part of the front line of our defence against this virus, so we are encouraging people to go and get vaccinated. Police have put that, I might get the Deputy Commissioner to talk more about that. The Commissioner has put that directive out for police. Police are on the front line as well, so that's for police, and we're encouraging teachers, of course. They can go to the front of the queue and get vaccinated.
Given your concern with kids though in COVID, why can't the government mandate it?
Well, a lot of teachers already had their vaccine and are getting their vaccine, so if there is an issue, we'll look at that.
What's the hotel quarantine cap here in Queensland at the moment?
I think the Commissioner said, was it about, Deputy Commissioner?
Yeah, 800 spare rooms.
Four?
Is there an actual number of the cap? So the cap is, the international cap is currently 650.
Correct.
Half the normal cap.
So yeah, international.
In total.
And we were taking double. So what the Prime Minister wrote to me about Tim, he wrote to me and he said that should ease in September and October, which is now what we're seeing, which means we're able to have more hotels available for returning Queenslanders and people wanting to relocate to Queensland.
Is there actually a cap number though, like total number of rooms available?
There was a cap for international, yeah. There's a cap from the federal government that different states and territories have at the moment for the numbers of returning international visitors.
So I'm talking like as a total number of hotel rooms available.
My understanding was about 4,000.
3,800 over.
3,800.
And the NRL regular season finished yesterday. What happens to all those teams and families who aren't playing in the finals?
Oh, look, I don't know that. I'll have to find out.
Were you disappointed that people were gathering on the borders, pulling their masks down, kissing, hugging?
Look, I addressed that yesterday. In Queensland, people are free to move around, and you know we don't want to see the virus come into Queensland. And at the moment, there are stay-at-home orders for people in New South Wales. So that's an issue for New South Wales if New South Wales people are actually moving around.
Is this a risk though for Queenslanders when Queensland people are going down to the border, pulling their masks down, hugging these people who are South Wales and then coming back after mingling with other people?
Yeah, well, my understanding is that police, and you heard the Deputy Commissioner talk about that before. You know, they saw what was happening down there. There was, you know, they monitored the situation, and look, we want to make sure that people are doing the right thing, and if people don't, they are putting their families and others at risk. Sorry, last one, and then we'll go to Dr Young, and we've got Cabinet.
Given some sections of state, particularly with Sundays and loading digested areas, only about half the full vaccination rate of some of the areas around Brisbane, are there any plans to wait until those individual areas reach the targets before moving to the...
Well, I can tell you now, I look at those figures every week, and we are going through and prioritising where our communities aren't up to the 50%, and we are trying to make sure that we are giving a very clear message, but also to, like I said to you, the federal government is responsible for 70% of the vaccine, we're responsible for 30%, but I want to see all of Queensland move at the same level. So we are looking at those pockets where there have been not the same levels. In our densely populated area of the southeast, we had concerns about Logan, Caboolture, the north side of Brisbane and Ipswich. We've addressed those issues by making sure that we are establishing vaccination hubs in those areas, and we are making it easy for some communities to do walk-ins. Some people, for a whole range of reasons, they may not have computers, they may not be able to log online to the Queensland Health website. We are making it easier for people to go and get vaccinated any way that they can.
Places like Sherbrooke have a vaccination rate of 4%. What's being done to try and lift that reach?
Yeah, and I know in other parts of the state too there have been low levels of some of our First Nations people going and getting vaccinated, and we are looking at their community centres to make sure that we can actually get more supply into those areas and encourage those communities to get vaccinated.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave that the press conference there. Sorry to cut that one in because that one came in live and we had to bring that live update. Well, of course, right now, the last of the states that we are going to look at today, because we have looked at all the states. Let's quickly look at ICT.
15 new cases overnight, 13 of them linked, 6 in quarantine during their entire infectious period, 7 in the community for part of their infectious period, and one of the key things driving that is the delay some people have in coming forward to get tested. So as soon as you have symptoms, please come forward to get tested and keep checking the exposure sites on the ACT COVID website. If you've been to one of them in the time, please come forward to get tested. 9 people hospitalised, a reduction on yesterday, and 1 remaining in intensive care. And again, we send our love and support to the family of that individual.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go, the update from all different states. Right now, it's time to get a message from our sponsors.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is there well, and don't forget that on Wednesday we will bring to you all the updates of real estate and we'll have an in-depth analysis of the situations and what's happening. Well, right now, as I mentioned, that this week from 5th till 11th is the Child Protection Week. So what does that mean? New research reveals less than half, meaning 44% of parents, carers, and grandparents have been open with their children about consent, despite 89% of adults saying it is the parents' responsibility to educate them. A new data from Act for Kids, whom we will be listening to. Well, Katrina Lines will be joining us soon. So our new data from Act for Kids also found over half, meaning 56% of Australian adults believe it is appropriate to start teaching children about consent and their body at the age of 1. However, this revelation raises serious concerns for children aged 0 to 4, particularly as they are most at risk, abuse and neglect. The concept of bodily autonomy continues to be misunderstood, with 69% of Australians believing that adults shouldn't have to ask a child for permission before they touch them. Worryingly, more than a third, meaning 36% of parents and children with the age of 18 doubt if their child understands what consent is, and only 29% of parents admit the words all the anatomy of the body parts and the abnormal in the child's vocabulary. As the National Office of Child Safety continues to develop the National Office and the National Strategy to prevent child sexual abuse, parents are encouraged to educate their children on consent and the correct anatomical language for body parts. This comes as sex offenders are found to be less likely to act on a child if the child knew correct names of their body parts. The Child Protection Week, which began from 5th and goes till the 11th, Act for Kids is urging parents to talk to their kids about consent from a young age, and this is advocating for education for parents and schools to help keep Australia's future generations safe. A research by Act for Kids was carried out on national representative sample of 2008 Australians aged 18 and over in August 2021. The data sample was weighted against ABS data for age, gender and location using an online survey that was independently conducted and verified by PureLine. Well, today we will be joined and let's see if we can get a okay, so all right. So our technical team tells us that Katrina is unable to join us via phone link, but via video link, but we can get her via audio via her phone. So here we are. Well, welcome to this. So Katrina, and Dr. Katrina, she is the Chief Executive Officer of Act for Kids. Katrina joined Act for Kids in 2006, became an Executive Director of Services in 2008, and was appointed as Chief Executive Officer in 2020. Katrina is a registered the physiologist with more than 20 years experience delivering clinical and social services at the individual, organizational and community level. She has a PhD in children's cognitive, social and emotional development, a postgraduate qualification in governance, business and education. So, it's good to have you on the show. And right now, let's look at some of the findings of this research that's been conducted. And must I commend Act for Kids for that recommendations, because it is very important for us to know about all these things that are happening out there. So, Katrina, could you please tell us about these research findings?
The research found that the majority of parents believe it is appropriate to start teaching children about consent after they start school. And this is really concerning because it leaves children between the ages of 0 and 4 vulnerable to sexual abuse.
Okay, so that is quite a good revelation there, and it's good that that research has been done. So what was the biggest concern, after having the research? What was the biggest concern coming out of this research?
The biggest concern for us from the research was that it showed that the concept of bodily autonomy is still misunderstood in Australia. 69% of adults believe they shouldn't have to ask children for permission to touch their bodies. We're also concerned that more than a third of parents of kids under the age of 18 doubt that their child actually understands the meaning of consent. And only 29% of parents, carers and grandparents say the anatomically correct words for body parts in normal conversation with their children.
Right. So, they are reluctant to use those words. So, what advice do you have for parents wanting to educate their children on consent, as this is a very, very serious matter?
Act for Kids recommends starting conversations with your child early, because early education is the key to empowering children to seek help when they're unsafe. So make discussions about consent and sex and relationships a normal part of the conversations in your home, and using the correct words for body parts, all private and public body parts, really helps them to own their body.
So it is being open, being understanding, and starting that conversation early, and very well said there, Katrina. Really appreciate that. Well, right now, moving on. So what are the necessary steps that parents should take to protect their children?
The best thing parents can do is to educate yourself about the issues of consent and sex and relationships, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to answer questions that your kids might ask, or certainly to have age-appropriate conversations with your child. And don't forget to start young. The first 5 years are really crucial, and it just needs to be built into part of your everyday routine. For example, bathing. Try to explain why you're taking your child's clothes off and why they're having a bath and why it's important. Or when someone comes to visit, rather than telling them to give the person a hug, you could give them alternatives and say, you could hug, you could blow them a kiss, you can give them a high five. It's up to them.
Well, that is what are the necessary steps that parents can take. Look, it is quite unfortunate that in today's day and age we have to come to this level to do a research to find out, and then of course pass on that message to everyone. But all that has been revealed, that those vulnerable ages, those tender ages, when kids need to be nurtured, loved, and fondled, that we need to get to this sort of level. But of course, it is very necessary. It is necessary, and that is the sign of day and time. And there are so many things that are happening out in the community that should not. And of course, if people want to, and Australians want more information, because in this interview we can only cover so much, Katrina. So if people want to find out a little bit more, and if they want to discuss some of their own concerns, where can they go? How can they get more information?
We have more resources and tips for families on our Act for Kids website, which is www.actforkids.com.au.
Well, once again, thank you very much for being on the show and bringing this rather touchy subject to the surface. And of course, all the best with the week, which is from the 5th till the 11th, and raising awareness. We have done our bit to make sure that the message goes out to our community, and it is important that the message does go out, because when it comes to things like this, no community is in isolation, no community is immune. So the message needs to get out to everyone. And once again, Katrina, I'd like to thank you very much for being on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are, that interview there, and it is rather disturbing, but it is a fact. So, facts cannot be swept under the carpet. Facts need to be discussed, brought out into the open, and have an open and robust discussion, and then only these things can be kept. Well, right now, let's take a look at functions and events, and let's see what's happening out here in Queensland. What are the things that we can take part in and around Brisbane? As we know, it has been a very, very busy weekend. Well, first of all, let the world know on your idea of India. Submit your entries with an online entries, digital painting and poster making contest. So you can register at iccr.gov.in, and that registration detail is there at the bottom. And next up, we are looking at the essay competition as part of the India at 75 and Hindi Diva celebration. High Commission of India, Canberra, is organising a Hindi essay writing competition, ages up to 12, 12 to 20, and 20 and above. So you can submit that on the Indian High Commission's website there. Once again, a very, very good initiative happening there. Next up, as part of the same celebration, Hindi Divas celebrations, High Commission of India in Canberra is organising an online Hindi quiz through its social media platforms. Last date for entry is 14th of September. Sri Venkateswara Durga Temple Navratri Utsav from 7th till 15th of October, and all the programs are there, and you can go and have a look at our website as well to find out about more details. Well, right now, the Federation of Indian Communities of Queensland welcomes you to the Diwali 2021, the Indian Festival of Life, 5th November 2021, King George Square. Entry is free, 11 a.m. till 11 p.m. Once again, an annual concert, that annual event that everyone likes to go to and take part in. Well, at Not Simply Human, celebrating the superheroes without capes, a saga of ordinaries in 2021. And the new date is 9th of October. And if you haven't booked, you can go on Try Booking and get your tickets if they are still available. As I know, they were very sought after. The Vedanta chapter of Vedanta Centre of Sydney's Brisbane chapter, the annual Vedanta Multicultural Show, is now on 3rd of October, and you can book on Try Bookings. Make sure registration is complete, because registration is compulsory. And Banyo District Community Group presents Banyo Diwali Festival of Lights, 30th of October from 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. at 284 St. Vincent's Road in Banyo, the Banyo Beehive Stand. And we are proudly supporting that event as well. Well, on Saturday and on Friday, you would have had that interview with Loud Agency. So, they are recruiting. This is a special initiative for all our Indian community in New South Wales. Go in and draw. I mean, if you just log in and if you take part in that Zoom survey, you get a $150 Coles e-gift voucher. So participate. Email nina@loudagency.com.au if you wish to participate. And I would strongly recommend that you do take part in that. Well, of course, the BSK competition is happening now every Sunday. And as we get closer, we will bring to you some of the updates of that's happening as well. The next few slides are from SCAD. And if you want to take part in the breakfast, which is happening as well, you can take part in that fundraiser as well. And of course, Sri Lakshmi Kumkum Puja, 14th of September at 4 p.m. at Runcorn State High School, 200 Nimis Road in Runcorn. And the priest for that event will be Sri Bharat Solanki ji. The program is from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. Please do take part in that as well. And Navratri Rudra Abhisekam on October 10th, Runcorn State School, once again, the program there by SCAD. Sri Venkateswara Durga Temple, 57 I Canmore Road in Canmore, and they have this year divided the days into different suburbs. So on the 7th is Brisbane CBD, on the 8th is Southern Suburbs Group 1, on 9th is Western Suburbs Group 2. So, and all different days are different areas that have been divided into, so that there's no commotion. And of course, Brisbane chapter of Vedanta Centre of Queensland and their programs for September. There's quite a few things that are happening. You can log on to our website to get an update of all the things that are happening there as well. Next up, Fiji COVID-19 support appeal by Sri Sanatan Dharam Hindu Association of Queensland, and you can donate. So every Fijian $75 will provide a food voucher which can feed a family for 2 weeks in Fiji. A good initiative. Please do take part in that. Arya Pratinidhi Sabha of Queensland, Gayatri Mahayagna on Sunday, 3rd of October from 10 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. at the Queensland Vedic Centre, 198 Leo Road, Willawong. Next up, we talk about India Day Fair, which will now take place on the 23rd of October at Suncorp Piazza. And of course, this has been postponed from 15th of August. And now, this date, hopefully by then, a lot more people will be able to partake in the event. And next up, we talk about Kairali Brisbane and their Home Festival, which will be on 11th of September. So, please do come ahead and take part. But once again, you need to book your tickets and you need to be registered. Next up, we're talking about that interview that we had here on the station, Mums United Seva Project. And on 19th of September at Emma Miller Park from 5:30 p.m. they'll be distributing dental hygiene, personal hygiene, muesli bars, etc. If you wish to donate or take part, please do contact Rohani Prasad on 0429 007 240, a very, very wonderful cause. Well, Sangeet Premi Club presents an appreciation and interfaith music festival, bhajan, kirtan, Sufi choral, Qawwali and devotional music and dance presented by popular singers, musicians and the groups. Now, you would have registered previously, but I've been told that you need to re-register. So please re-register, and for further information, contact USFG on 0401 006 430. Remember, this is an event organized by Sangeet Premi Club and supported by Queensland Government. And we also like to talk about the Sargam Music Academy's Musical Night. And this has a program that was postponed. Now it will happen on 13th of November, 5:30 p.m. onwards. Once again, you need to book. If you had previously booked, double check the status and make sure that your registration is valid. So ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have time for in this segment. And as we know, it's been a rather extended segment coming back after the weekend. There's so much to talk about. There were so many functions that took place as well. I'd like to bring to you the glimpses, but time does not permit that. That's about all we have for you in this segment. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Please go and get vaccinated. There are so many hubs that have been opened. And if you have been vaccinated, make sure you get your certificate there as well. And if you're attending functions and other things, please do observe the safety rules that have been put out by Queensland Health. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.